it. I think. I feel. I have the sole petition. Make one like me.
And then what?
Procreation. Reproduction. A home. A grave. Death. Begetting death. Begetting death. A race of devils propagated upon the earth. Obscenity perpetuating itself. I am seen to you, but to myself I simply am. Begone!
What began as a birthday barbecue ended in a bizarre tragedy in Hohokus, New Jersey today. It was this power mower that brought a quick end to the life of 21-year-old bride-to-be Elizabeth Shelley. Like wood through a mulcher, the girthful fiancée disappeared beneath the blades of the berserk mower that sent her personality raining down upon the horrified birthday revelers. In a blaze of blood, bones, and body parts, the vivacious young girl was instantly reduced to a tossed human salad, a salad that police are still trying to gather up, a salad that was once named
Hey everybody, welcome
Elizabeth.
back to another exciting episode of Citizen Frame. We're back after a Halloween month and a half. Now, we did promise you that we were going to do Frankenstein because it's a big new release, and we wanted to chat about it. So, that's right. We're here to talk the new 2025 Frankenstein by beloved director Guillermo del Toro. But guess what, people? It won't stop there. Jesus. I first got to apologize, really, because we're going to give you a double bill today. We don't do a lot of double bills, but Trevor loves this film that he goes, we need to do it because it's a better film. And I said, what film is better than this Frankenstein we're about to talk about? He says, well, I've got it. So unfortunately, folks, we're doing a double bill. We're going to talk Frankenstein, probably going to be nominated for a bunch of awards and definitely reintroduced to us to a new talent. He's been around for a couple movies. That's JacobElordi, plays the monster. Beautiful visuals, incredible set design, wonderful acting, great veteran actors, great landscapes. And then we're going to piggyback on this wonderful film to Trevor's favorite film, based on the same material. And I apologize that's coming out of my mouth because it's not even close. We're going to be talking Frankenhooker.
The definitive version of Mary Shelley's classic novel. And I don't care what anyone says. And actually, the fact that, well, you're saying that the Del Toro Frankenstein will probably be nominated for a load of awards. The fact that Frankenhooker wasn't just shows the snobbery behind these awards bodies for obvious classics. Okay?
You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You just I don't swear a lot, people.
What? You've got Tourette's?
Listen,
basically, no offense, that you know what I mean. I'm not, but basically, like every word that comes out of your mouth is basically fuck off, you clueless twat, fuck off, fuck you.
No, but listen, it's because you cause it.
Right.
Do you guys know? Do you guys ever have an individual that every time you get around, you just want to fucking swear? Trevor has. I actually believe you can get Tourette's temporarily by talking to somebody.
So basically, it's absolutely nothing to do with you being an aggressive asshole then, no? No,
I'm a kind heart.
Right.
I'm like,
you could have fooled me.
You know what? This is a perfect conversation to have. I am like the monster. And you're Victor Frankenstein.
What a genius. Because like the guy is a genius, you know? Yes, he has his flaws, but
yes, flaws. We'll talk about it. We talk about character arcs a lot in this. And this film definitely has it. But you know what? I saw this film 3 times, and I tell you what, he does it. I hate the character, and we'll certainly dive into it. So let's talk about boy Guillermo del Toro. You know what? I like the guy. I think he's such a fan of cinema.
He's a real thing.
Especially the stuff like that I like. However, I'm not a big fan of a lot of his stuff, believe it or not. He's so creative, and it's kind of like George Lucas kind of thing, where really good visionary, but I just think the stories get lost. and not people are going to hate me for this, but I'm not a big fan of the Hellboys. I think he did Blade 2, which I really enjoyed.
Yes,
it's the
he
best
did.
of them. I love Mimic. I like that one a lot. And I love his best work is always going to be The Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, I was just going to say I actually prefer his earlier work, like The Devil's Backbone and even Blade 2.
And that's what I'm saying. I like him more grounded.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Limited budget. But when you get these, like, don't get me wrong, I love Pan's Labyrinth, and I really enjoy Shape of the Water. But there's not much replayability value, unlike the other ones I just mentioned. So I hope he doesn't become a Cameron, where he focuses more on the visuals and pulls away from the actual execution of the film, the acting, the story, and so forth. He doesn't with this one. Cards on the table. This is a wonderful film. There's actually a better version. I will mention that at the end of the podcast. But that's kind of where I am at with him. I'm not like, oh my God, the Del Toro film is coming. I like to see him go back to his roots. I guess.
Did you watch his recent anthology series?
Yeah,
on Netflix.
The Curious
Cabinet of Curiosities, I believe it was called. Yeah,
it was okay. It's okay. But,
yeah, well, I think like all anthology series, you're going to have your favorites. Yeah.
So let's jump into our boy here. This is based on a famous novel by Mary Shelley. If no one knew that.
yeah, no. It has been adapted almost 1,000 times for TV and film.
1,001 if you include Frankenhooker.
Well, it's like the number one,
So Andrew Garfield was originally cast, but he had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts, which does happen. It's weird because Andrew Garfield is 5'10", and JacobElordi, who's perfect casting, is 6'5".
Well, JacobElordi, I hope I'm pronouncing his surname correctly, he certainly has the height and the physique for it. Actually, I was on Facebook recently, and there was a, believe it or not, Hallmark version of Frankenstein, which I haven't actually seen, but that starred Luke Goss, he of Bros, the British boy band from the 1980s.
Yeah,
he also appeared in Blade 2. But the look of the creature in that version, played by Luke Goss, is very similar to this one.
Patchy, very patches.
Yes, yeah.
All right, let's jump into it. We've got, what a wonderful cast here. Oscar Isaac is Victor Frankenstein. JacobElordi is the monster. Christopher Walsh is Harlander. Mia Goth, believe it or not, I didn't know this, plays two parts. She plays Elizabeth, and she plays the mother, Claire Frankenstein. Yep. You have to blink, you won't catch it. She must have altered her mouth in some way because she's got those lips. Yeah, they got those lips. She got those lips that it's Mia Goth, but I think they put something in her mouth. She doesn't really speak in the role, and to kind of take away the focus of them. But if you blink, you miss it. But Mia Goth, again, just like X, plays two roles.
Yeah.
You've got, nice to see, David Bradley, who plays the blind man. You got Lars Mikkelsen, our boy Mad's brother, plays Captain Anderson. I really like that character a lot in this. And, of course, we had Felix Kammerer, who plays the younger brother, William.
Charles Dance as well as Baron Frankenstein, Victor's father.
Yeah. Why don't I have that many notes? What the hell? I should have that. Yeah, I always like to see Charles Dance.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, you have actual Doctor Who, which you've just mentioned, David Bradley, who played the first Doctor in the 2005 series onwards a couple of times. So there you go.
Nobody cares.
Big Doctor Who reference.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Other ones, actually.
Nobody cares. Now they just switch us off.
Right.
People say, oh, we're done. All right. So the film's told pretty much in three parts. The prelude, and then we got the Victor story, and then we got the monster story. The prelude, it's got so many great parts in this film. It's got some downfalls, and the length's going to be one of them. And I think the downfall is really Victor's story. And I think it's a little elongated. I think the monster's got like 45 minutes, and he's got like an hour and something, which I can understand. Maybe he should have the longer part of the story, but it could have been chopped up a little bit. But the prelude's wonderful. We see the ship stuck in the ice, and obviously they run in, these poor guys who are stuck in the ice, run into the big chase of Victor running. Well, now he's kind of chasing the monster.
Yeah.
But he's hurt, and they take him on board, and the monster wants him for himself, obviously. This whole opening sequence is just wonderful. There's a gorgeous shot when they find Victor's body, and you see the shadow of the monster on top of this ice snow hill, whatever, and you got this sunset coming up behind him. It's just creepy, and you hear this roar, like a polar bear roar, and it's this is what the film is really about. The cosmetics and the way the stuff's shot, the visuals is just stunning. If you guys ever seen Crimson Peak, it's probably his worst film, to be honest with you. But Frankenstein's castle, and this looks like Crimson Peak. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same set.
Yeah, I mean, just generally, I mean, it is so lavish, including the costumes, and it's fantastic to look at. There are a couple of visuals. Well, it's one visual that pops up a couple of times. The like red angel vision that Victor Frankenstein is having. Ever he dreams about every so often. That's just stunning looking. But overall, you cannot fault this film in terms of its look. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. But it's a Del Toro film. It's going to look beautiful. That's to be expected. So it is.
So what I do like about it, you pretty much get right away the power of the monster. He takes out 6 of the captain's men, and he just again, just by a punch and how they hit the ground hard or whatever. Again, that goes down to sound editing and choreography and so forth. But just the first 5 minutes alone, you already know how powerful this monster is.
This is one of the things I would actually nitpick. It's not a massive thing, but I think that the monster is, in this version, too much of a superhero, and we'll certainly get to more about that later on. But it's almost bordering on the sort of Marvel superhero type thing, almost even Superman. Obviously, a very different version, but it was one of the things that did slightly niggle me. Not a big, massive thing, but it's definitely there.
Well, we'll dig a little deeper into that. I could agree with it to a certain extent, but I can see that by the very last shot why they kept that kind of, why they added that. But there's one scene that doesn't make any sense to me, and it's with the dynamite, and we'll certainly talk about that. All right, so, and then obviously he falls to the ice, and then you've got, this is where Victor is bedridden now, pretty much dying at this point, but he's telling the captain his story. And this is Victor's tale, they call it. What you'll notice here is there's a lot of parallels. And what I mean by that, you meet the father, who's a complete douche. The way he treats Claire, his wife, making her eat that food, just a horrible sequence. The way he treats her and the blood coming out of her mouth and shit. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to explain it. You got to see it to do the scene justice.
But he's very tough to Victor as well, obviously.
Well, yeah, I like the scene where he goes, I'm not going to hit your hands because your hands are now your tools, because you're going to be a great doctor. But your face, that's for vanity. So he smacks him in the face. And it is. But the reason they show this sequence, Victor's going to do the exact same thing to the monster.
This is a film about fatherhood. And essentially, Victor Frankenstein's journey from being one type of father to, spoiler alert at the end, redeeming himself and accepting his son. So it's basically about fatherhood.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to go out the man that his father went out.
That he was becoming, that he was actually, and the way he treated the creature.
And then Williams is born. She dies at birth. And the one thing Victor always questioned was, he questioned the father, if he's such a man of science, my father's the best at what he does. How did my mother die during birth?
How could he not save her? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And this is why
there's also that resentment against the brother as well, because he believes that the Charles Dance father favors the brother, which he does.
Well, also, you also got to keep in mind, it was his birth that killed the mother.
Yes.
So there's also going to be there.
That resentment.
And the Williams character, his brother, and Elizabeth, they're probably the two real decent characters in this, next to clearly the monster. But I'd also notice the parallel between the reason Mia Goth played both parts was because Victor's entranced by Elizabeth. not necessarily sexually, but mainly because she looks like her mother, and
There's
looks
a
like his mother. But at the same time, he's got William, who's going to marry Elizabeth, who, it's kind of weird because he feels William took away his mother at birth when he was born and she died. Now he's taken away another form of his mother by marrying Elizabeth.
Yeah. I was just about to say that there's definitely touching on the sort of Oedipus complex. The whole sort of falling in love with the mother thing. That's definitely touched upon, and certainly referenced with the Elizabeth character after he has lost his mother. And it's no coincidence that both are played by Mia Goth. Mia Goth, I've said it before and I'll say it again, has such an amazing presence. I know a lot of other people have said that, but there's just something so hypnotizing about her, and especially in this with the whole overly sort of lavish costumes and stuff. It's just, you can't take your eyes off her.
Yeah, I don't have that with her.
I do, definitely.
No, I'm not. I mean, she's around for a reason. She's very good at what she does. I'm not here to insult her. I mean, the one thing I was worried about was she's going to go off screaming like she does most of her films.
It's not Pearl. This is Frankenstein.
Yeah. So this is like we use the word a lot, but this is more grounded Mia Goth.
Yes.
And I like.
Well, it's a different role, obviously.
No. Yeah, but the role she was taking was just her screaming. Every role.
Infinity Pool, she plays a very similar role to the whole screaming and shouting.
Yeah. And X and Maxine, and we can keep going. The roles you know her for, she just screams.
Yeah, but she's a lot more than just the screaming and shouting.
No, she's just screaming. And this gives me hope for her.
Well, her character is probably the most interesting and likable, actually, probably out of them all, because the whole Victor Frankenstein,
No, I think Williams. I got Williams as the probably. Well, I think Paul
bland.
No, he's got the best line in the film.
Yeah, well, yes, I know there's the whole stuff with Victor, but it's been done many times before about, who is the real monster. But Elizabeth here, she's like an old soul. She's like she's a kind soul on top of that. And she's it's almost like she's born out of time. Very like sort of Mary Shelley herself probably was. So, yeah, I found her the most interesting character. And she basically plays the bride of Frankenstein, but to take a slightly different turn with it later on. But yeah, no, I thought she was a good character and also superbly played by Mia.
You mentioned the angel. So our boy, when the father dies, Victor has this image of an angel, and it's this red angel. It's pretty creepy and very goth. And I was wondering what this is. I feel like the dark angel he keeps saying, because he talks to it a bit, I think it's his alter ego or something, or maybe his kind of deal with the devil.
Well, it's almost like, is it an angel or is it a devil? You know what I mean? What way is he going to go?
Well, it's almost like his deal with Faust.
Go to hell?
The whole Faust and...
Yeah.
But yeah, because he says, I'm going to become the best surgeon ever.
Yes. But what path is it going to take him? Is it going to take him to heaven or take him to hell? He can either be a great doctor and save lives, or in this case, he creates a life, a creature. But then, his son. But then the creature here is not sort of monster, essentially. Yes, it physically, by sort of, normal standards, so to speak, doesn't look too great. But at the same time, it has a great soul type thing.
I think the problem I have with it's not the performances. There's nothing wrong with any of these performances actually, but it's the way it's written. I think at some point we're supposed to feel sorry for Victor Frankenstein. We might turn at the end when we get there. We'll talk about it. But this whole thing where a bad upbringing, lost his mother, felt betrayed by his father by going to. As a matter of fact, there's a line where he talks about with William, where the father, he said the father, I can see he loves William more than me. He feels he is the breeze and I'm the storm cloud. I think that's the terminology he used. And we're supposed to feel kind of sympathetic toward the Victor character, but we're never really given that moment to do that. Then we cut to, he's older now. He's kind of technically made a deal with the devil, I guess you can say. And he's already going to people being executed and looking for bodies. And and there's a scene where it's a wonderfully beautiful, just eerie scene where he's doing this autopsy. He's giving them an idea of what he can do, and he has his half body. And everyone, yes, Finchie from The Office is in it. Yes, let's get that out of the way now. Finchie's from the fucking Office.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Finchie from The Office is just, he's everywhere in these sort of gothic horrors, you know.
He had nothing else to do. He's probably in the same costume he's going to be doing werewolf.
He wasn't even acting. That's just what he does.
But so we got that half body. It's great effect, and he comes alive. Just the way he kills him again brings him alive, and he's in pain, and the way it's almost carnival-esque.
Oh yeah,
and it's
Grand
not.
Guignol.
And so right there, you hate the man, and so you never got that chance to feel pity for him before he's turned into something, monstrous. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, and yes, and his father's actually right about the vanity thing, because he is completely vain and egotistical. His ego's in outer space. And that's why he does, he's a genius and he knows it type thing, but he thinks he can get everything, including Elizabeth. But Elizabeth knocks him back and chooses his brother.
That's the better writing right there. The dinner scene where he's finally introduced to her. He's like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm blah, blah. Kind of like you, just showing off and stuff.
What?
You do. You like that all the time.
No, I'm more like the long-suffering fucking creature, having to listen to your shite.
No, but
don't make me go charge dance on you and slap you.
Oh fuck! I kick your ass.
Would you?
I just take a gun. There you go. And,
right. Well, I would be more gentlemanly and slap you about.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna remove my glove and slap you in the face. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Boom.
Like Finchie from The Office.
Oh Jesus.
Like him.
Yeah, but the dinner scene's nice because he's bragging, he's doing this and this, and Williams is kind of rolling his eyes. But Elizabeth goes, just fucking calls him out. And the funny thing is, she is really the only one to challenge him. And
she's a match?
Yeah, because she has mother's looks. She has that wit. She's battled the witch with him all the time. I think that's what lures her.
Even in the confessional booth, where he's pretending to be a priest when she's doing her confession, but she actually knows what he's up to.
Yeah.
She's his equal in terms of the whole sort of, the banter and the sort of battle of wits between them.
I think she's always one step ahead.
In many ways, yes. Yeah.
Like he thought he had her.
She knows what he's like.
Yeah, he thought he had her pretending to be the priest, but the whole time she was playing him.
She's a good judge of character. And it actually becomes her downfall. It kills her.
Yeah.
Through her defense.
That's a good song by Delamitri.
Well, the Delamitri version's good. Don't know what that was. That was just a noise.
No, I'm talking about Delamitri. You're going to be my downfall tonight. Huh?
Yeah. Nothing Ever Happens is my favorite Delamitri song, actually.
Driving with the brakes on.
Nah, Nothing Ever Happens. Just that whole sort of take on the whole tedium of day-to-day life. Superb. Anyway, we're talking about Frankenstein.
I think Delamitri should have been doing the soundtrack for this.
No, they'd have been better for Frankenhooker, maybe. Same era.
Fuck that. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're mid-90s.
Oh, no. They're about from like the 80s.
No. They their first album was 90.
They're a Scottish band.
I know who they are. I've seen them.
They
founded in 1990.
Right.
Well, you always challenge me on this.
I maybe it's a false memory, but I could have swore that they were around the late 80s.
Oh my God! I don't have time for this.
Well, you started it.
I was just having a good banter about a classic song could have been used in this wonderful film.
What you butchered?
I did not. Actually, I think the band's probably going to call. We need a new lead singer. You're wonderful.
Yeah, no, because to tune into this podcast as well, obviously, looking for new singers.
I do like the whole making of the monster. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I do like how he goes to the men being hung. He's got a good back. We'll take this one. And he goes to a war scene. It's kind of ugly, actually.
The Crimean War.
Yeah.
Sort of battlefields.
And he's grabbing body parts from there.
Did you notice who was playing the Hangman?
No.
Burn Gorman, a Welsh actor.
Oh, God.
Who also starred in Torchwood and Doctor Who.
Fuck. Okay, let's just move on. So Harlander's character was kind of creepy too. He was kind of a perv, but I like Christoph Waltz. But Christoph Waltz plays Christoph Waltz.
Yeah,
he's kind of like Willem Dafoe. You like him on the screen, but he's just going to play the same thing.
He is sort of, as much as I love Christoph Waltz, he is sort of phoning it in here and doing Christoph Waltz in another film. Don't get me wrong, he's always great to watch, but yeah, I think the best parts are whenever he reveals he's actually dying of syphilis.
Yeah, so
it goes on a dark turn.
Yeah, so he tells. That's what I want to get to. He asks him right when the storm's coming and he's about to make our monster come alive. He goes, "You owe me. I give you the money. I've always had your back. There's one thing I want from you." And he finds out he has syphilis, and stuff like that. And so he asks. He wants. That's what I don't get. What does he want? He wants his brain and his body. I don't get. What's he asking?
Yes, exactly? That's ultimately what he wants Victor Frankenstein for, to basically save his life, prolong his life, because he knows he's dying. That, at first he doesn't tell Victor this, but basically he wants Victor to save his life, but he doesn't tell Victor this till later on when Victor notices him, without his wig on, essentially. So
what's he going to do? I don't understand. He wants to cut his head off and put it on this monster the last minute?
Yes.
At the last minute? Oh, yeah, hold on.
He always wanted.
Don't you think you should have told him this prior?
It's a plot twist, but and it's a gothic horror film, and it must be, I don't want to get too sort of, in depth and stuff about the historical context, but back in those days, the early 1800s, whenever Frankenstein was written, galvanism was a big thing and a big talking point, which is basically trying to bring people back to life with electricity. And in the original novel, it's only hinted at about the electricity. And there are differences here. Of course there are. There always will be in any version, apart from Frankenhooker. But no, basically the cut long story short.
We just ruined that whole conversation, Frankenhooker.
And I was actually sounding as if half sensible there.
Yeah, wow, this guy reads.
Yeah. But no. But basically, the cut a long story short, he wants Victor Frankenstein. The reason he hires Victor Frankenstein and gives him all this money and the big tower and stuff is because he's looking for Victor Frankenstein, not to create a creature or a monster or whatever, but actually for him to be saved, through this.
Yeah, but you can't do it the night of a storm. I mean, it's like, what? We're getting ready to prep this guy, and now you want me to cut your head off and put it on this guy? I mean, there's a lot of prep. But there's a great line.
In real life terms.
There's a good line. It's not that necessarily he didn't want to do it, Victor. He says you can't because your body is completely polluted. Your blood is polluted. Your organs are polluted.
Everywhere.
There's nothing we can do. Yeah. And I do love his death when he falls and his head just crashes onto the bottom, and his whole back skull is all caved in.
Yeah. Cool. Again, I'll never be a fan of CGI and horror, but whenever it is used mixed with real sets and real practical effects here, it does very much work. And I do like the fact that, I thought at this point they were going to go for a twist where actually he does put the brain into the creature of, Christoph Waltz, but it doesn't. He pulls back from that and it gives you a different twist, says, nah, don't think so, so then he falls off the ledge.
I almost thought
and he does die.
When he does die, because he falls and he dies, he runs down to check on the body. There's a little part of me after seeing it a couple of times that if that brain was still intact, maybe he was thinking about it. But when he saw the brain all over when he lifted up the head, all the brain,
that was game over.
That was it, game over. So I do think he was kind of thinking about it at that point because there's a little guilt there.
I think he would. Yeah, because he funded him and he became like his sort of friend and sort of mentor. Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, Victor Frankenstein was mad enough to certainly consider it. Yeah. But I think Victor has a logical side to him where, a proper medical side where he knows this isn't going to work. Sorry. or else it would type thing.
There's a great line where when he creates the monster, and we see little things that he can heal when he cuts himself, and he can heal, which I'm okay with the healing part. I'm not okay with blowing yourself up, but he's chaining him up, and they get a visit from Liz and William. And this whole scene's wonderful, especially with William. William's got the best line in the whole thing, and then so does Elizabeth, because she's all chained up.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Why is he chained up?" And that's a fair question, actually. I didn't get it. He goes, "It's to protect himself and me. It doesn't know any better." And then she says, "Well, should it you?" It's a great line. Great line.
Because he's the real monster.
Yeah. It's writing like that. And then William says, "When you are making up this man, what part holds the soul?"
Yeah.
Just one question. And you can't answer it. And if you notice, when Elizabeth and William address the monster, they don't call it. They call it the man.
Yes. And also, I love how whenever, first of all, the monster can only say Victor. That's the only word that basically knows as far as we're concerned. And so Victor obviously thinks it's not intelligent type thing. But then whenever it says its second word, which is Elizabeth, Victor becomes really jealous, actually.
Yeah, because she actually teaches him how to say more words by your throat.
Yes, and the reason it doesn't respond as well to Victor is because Victor treats it like a complete animal. Victor treats it like his father treated him, and
that's what I was saying in the beginning.
Yeah, totally. But
he even beats it like he did.
I know that
like the father did.
It's basically, for want of a better phrase, animal cruelty. Like these assholes who would, be cruel to their dogs or whatever, their pets. But Elizabeth is a kind soul, and she sees the beauty within the soul, and she sees that he is a kind soul, and that's why it responds to Elizabeth. Obviously, it becomes more educated later on when we get, to the blind man and his family and stuff. That's how it learns, to read and, proper dialogue. But it's Elizabeth at first recognizes it within the creature. And by the way, I call it a creature, not a monster, because it's not really a monster.
Well, that's the whole point. Who's the real monster?
Yeah. Yep.
But little things like we have a scene where he follows this leaf where the water goes, and the water goes, obviously empties into the ocean from the castle. And
yes.
that learning that where that leaf goes ends up saving his life when the place goes on fire.
Who else did the look of the creature remind you of? Prometheus, Ridley Scott's Prometheus.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
And that is no coincidence.
He looks like one of the engineers.
Yes, and that is no coincidence, I believe, because Mary Shelley, the subtitle of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is The Modern Prometheus.
Well, there's a shot coming up, and it's mirror image, the beginning of Prometheus. We'll get to it in a second here. But when he starts, now he's getting jealous of the monster. So he tells William that Harlander is dead because of the monster.
Blames the monster.
And actually nobody believes that. But there's a great moment where he's setting the whole place. I like to know where he got all the fucking oil, all this gasoline. I mean,
well, it's well kitted out, that tar, I'll say, especially for like early 1800s. But, good on them.
But he, as he's setting the whole place on fire, you hear him screaming, Victor, Victor.
Yes.
And that one moment in the entire film that Victor has a little bit of humanity, a little bit of guilt. He decides to go back in.
I know.
And the minute he does it, the whole place explodes and he loses his leg.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he basically has a change of heart and goes back to save the creature, but it's too late, because obviously there's the explosion and stuff.
So now we're in part 2, which is the creature's tale, which is my favorite part. And there's a scene where, because he gets out, he escapes obviously from the fire, but he comes out of the water and he's lying on this beach, some stones on the beach, and he's getting up and he's a pale white gray. It was literally, it must be like you just mentioned, it almost is a shot to shot from the opening sequence for Prometheus.
Definitely big references there in more ways than one. Yeah. Very much so.
Feel sorry for the deer.
Yes.
I hated that shot. Didn't see it coming. He's playing with the deer. He's learning to adapt, and the fuckers blow its head off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The wolves, they were bastards. I didn't like them.
But he rips it. I love when he scalps one of the wolves.
Yes.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Little fuckers. And they killed the sheep too. Poor sheep.
Yeah. And what is it? The spirit of the woods, they call him, or the spirit of the forest, the family call him.
I love this. I love that he's hiding in this back area of the farm, and he decides, even though they're not helping him, he's
helping them.
He feels like he's staying there. He's using their turf. So when they're sleeping at night, he's like building fences for them and getting them hay or wood and so forth. I think that's a really nice scene to show how much of a decent human being this man really is over what we just got from Victor's story.
Yeah, the humanity of basically the creature, essentially. And then obviously, you know, he then learns to read and stuff and becomes more educated through the blind man.
And
Doctor Who.
It's funny. It's the people who are, I don't want to say the monster's disabled, but technically, I mean, come on. And then you've got the blind man. You got these two, not lost souls, but, well, maybe they are. And they embrace each other and they teach each other stuff. And
the blind man, of course, can't see him. You know, can't see the fact that he's basically a patchwork quilt of human parts. So, you know, I think the blind man is a kind soul anyway, you know. But you have to remember he can't see him, so he can just hear him and hears the humanity.
Yeah, but
within him.
Does hug him and embrace him. I'm sure he had some. He's a smart man, so I know he sees more than what we see. That what he think. What
in a different way, yes, he would have some sort of inkling. He knows that he's an outsider,
and he knows he's an outsider. And he knows he's not, you know, Mr. Normal,
so to speak. Yeah,
but yeah, he teaches him all these different readings and stuff. And he also says, he talks to him about, you got to forget about the past. It's not worth, you know, vengeance is not the answer.
Yes.
And he talks to him about what happened, and he remembers fire and water, and because he's having obviously memory loss, and he just remembers the single word, which you mentioned, Victor. So this is what brings him back to the castle. And then there's a great shot where that photographer, when Harlander was taking pictures of the transformation as they're building the monster. It was almost put on like a piece of glass. And so when the monster picks up one of the pictures that he finds from the refuse of the fire, you can see through the glass, but you can see his image that was but you can see his image behind that glass.
Yes, it's the way they did the sort of basically the developing of sort of camera shots back in those days. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's a nice little, you know, it's a nice little shot.
It sees itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds the letter and he learns that's where the address is. So this is because of all the book smarts that our boy, the blind man, has taught him. Yeah. Now, it is sad when he goes back there and the blind man's pretty much been eaten by the fucking wolves. And when he goes back to get the blind man, well, not go back. He doesn't go back, sorry. He heals after they shoot him, but he's holding him, and he talks about, you're my friend, and
he's his only friend.
He goes, I know what you are. Yeah, he goes, I'm a monster, and he goes, no, I know what you are. You're a good man, and you're my friend. Oh my God! Even I choked up. Come on, you probably laughed.
I'm gonna say something soon, actually, that I'll probably get flack over.
But it's so funny. He dies. He's like, "You, my friend." Ugh. He dies like right away, right? And then he just turns around and says, he rips that man's jaw off.
Yeah. But awesome. You know, well, it's a whole sort of, you know, he's a badass, old you know, the creature. But at the same time, he has a heart, you know, which he has learned from, you know, not just the blind man. You know, the blind man actually wasn't his only friend, Elizabeth. So he's learned, you know, he has it within him anyway, but it was certainly nurtured by the blind man and Elizabeth.
There's a moment where Victor, you think And there's a brief couple minutes here where they're going to get married, and Victor's kind of at peace with everything. He's kind of more reserved, laid back, and he goes into Elizabeth's quarters and he apologizes, and she pretty much just tells him, "No, I just want one thing from you, no more lies." And she slaps him. Pretty much has done the damage because she knows in her heart of heart what she did to the monster, and pretty much is unforgivable. So you have the showdown where Elizabeth gets shot, and poor William, the two innocent ones, poor William gets pretty much a brain hemorrhage, internal hemorrhage.
To be honest, William sort of annoyed me, and he was a bit of a dipshit, so I didn't give a shit about him.
What?
The brother, yeah, he just got on my nerves a bit. I preferred Victor, actually, as a character. I think he was a much better character and stronger character. Same for Elizabeth. But this is what I'm maybe going to get a bit of flag about. The sort of classic monster horror fan in me, whenever Elizabeth gets it, and yes, she sort of has that final scene with the creature. I have to admit, I did want zombie Elizabeth, zombie Mia Goth, Bride of Frankenstein. But yes, it's more poetic and more emotional here, and I get that it works. But there was a big part of me, the horror kid in me wanted zombie Mia Goth.
I don't think he wanted to go there. I think he wanted to keep this.
No, I get why he didn't.
Yeah. I'm kudos the way he did that. But going back to William's death, even William's last words are, "You're a monster. You're the monster," is what he tells him. William has, you're a sick fuck. William has the best lines in this film. Him and Elizabeth. They're the ones who are seeing this from the outside, and they can see it completely that he's the problem. And there's a great line where I just said a second ago, where Victor it seems like he was a little bit at peace before all this came back to him. He actually says a line to the monster. He even said, "I was leaving insanity. Now I have to face it again."
Yes.
Pretty much what he's saying is,
he's doomed by his past actions.
Yeah. My insanity is coming back to bite me in the ass.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Although, no, don't get me wrong, the brother character is well played and stuff, but I definitely think it's very much a film, more or less, obviously about Victor and the creature, but also Elizabeth. I just feel that the brother character is the weakest of the main characters, including the Christoph Waltz character.
I completely disagree. Completely. They're all not. Actually, they all there to do their job. They all have points to make, and they do. We all know why Harlan is really there. We know why the kind of person Elizabeth is, and William is the more sensible one. I mean, just because he's not batshit crazy like Victor and doesn't go around blah blah and acting like an ass clown, he's just more reserved.
But Victor's more interesting as a character.
Yeah, but he's also
more complex. I know,
but that doesn't think that you've got to be able to understand why the William character is there.
Of course I do. I do, but I'm just saying, for my personal preferences, I prefer the Victor character and the Elizabeth character and the creature.
You only like Elizabeth character, not for the reason I gave you, which are why you should be like. You just want it because you want to get in your pants.
No. I like the Elizabeth character because, like myself, she is an old soul, a kind and gentle soul.
Fuck that.
There's poetry about her, like myself. So that's why, we're kindred. Me and Elizabeth and I are kindred spirits. So that's why I like her. And yes, Victor's an asshole and a dick. You fucking muppet.
Anyways, oh my God, where the fuck are we? Yeah, so you got the whole chase scene. Now, I'm for him having super strength and being pretty much almost unkillable. But come on, he goes, "I'm going to prove to you I can't die," and he pretty much swallows a stick of dynamite, and his body parts would be everywhere. But
it goes completely against the any laws of physics.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any. And this is one of the big problems I have with the film overall, the creature being immortal. I don't think it makes any real sense in terms of even the plot. In terms of the plot, yeah, fair enough, but more in terms of the sort of logic and the drama. If a character can't die, then there's no real drama there for the character.
Is.
Well, there's not really, because you know he's not going to die because he's
No,
immortal.
of course there's drama there. Because
Yes,
he's got to live the
but
rest
in
of
the
his
sense-
life alone. Like, literally.
The curse of
forever
immortality, I
and ever.
get that. But in terms of there's no real threat against the creature from, like, say, the wolves.
Oh, but who
Because we
cares
know
about
can't die.
that? But we don't need that. That had nothing to do with his story.
It didn't work for me.
It doesn't make... No, I don't like the whole thing he didn't explode. Don't get me wrong. But the healing and stuff, I was more than fine with. The ending alone, when Victor finally tells him, "Forgive me, my son," and Victor says, "I forgive you," and then he dies, and then his humanity comes back to him that he kind of once lost there of that rage not too long ago, where Frankenstein
becomes a father.
He moves the ship. He moves the ship to get the sailors out of there.
Get them out of the... Whenever they're trapped.
In the opening sequence, he was killing 6 of them, and he wanted to kill Victor. But at the end, he's rescuing all of them. It's a beautiful show, which, by the way, kudos to our boy. Tator says, "I'm building a fucking ship because I want the ship to look real when he's pushing it." And that's the actor really pushing whatever he's doing. But he said, "I won't CGI it because it'll take you out."
Well, they both essentially regain their humanity right at the end, which I think is a nice touch. And yes, I do like the curse of immortality, in general terms, but I don't really think it didn't really work for me here. But
at the end though, didn't you feel? Because at the end, he leaves, he walks, he's going to, wherever, he's walking, and then he looks up and he's crying. It's heartbreaking. But then let me finish, please. And then when the sun comes up and it rays in his face, he smiles.
Yeah, I actually, if you really want to sort of break it down, I actually didn't mind too much the whole immortality thing per se and the healing. However, it was more what bugged me was the whole him being a superhero and the dynamite thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the dynamite thing I didn't get. I mean, he would have blown up. I don't care who the fuck you are. But the healing and all, that was the whole point.
No, I thought the healing was okay. I get that. But the whole stuff with him being a superhero, especially in the opening sequence, where he's basically Superman,
he's badass.
Him about.
That was awesome.
Yes. But it was a bit too much for this particular character for me, and a bit too Marvel for me for the character.
I completely disagree, because he went to that rage. Here's a character who was humbled and quiet and reserved. Only fought back when he was being shot at, with the hunters and so forth. And then the rage that Victor Frankenstein has caused him, he was becoming like his father. He was becoming the abusive one. He was the one. And then when Mia Goth gets Elizabeth, that just fueled his rage.
So I get that.
So that's got a reason. That's what that beginning is. The beginning is actually the end. So it's the prelude. So that rage, he becomes Victor at that end. That's why he's so violent. But then he, as the story's being told, he gets more calm and relaxed, and that's when the apology happens, and he becomes human. He's back to his kind, gentle self at the end of the film.
Yeah, but I think with me, it was more the realization of it, were the way, I get that, the rage thing and the whole sort of duality there of the sort of the kind soul and also the anger and the rage. But for me, it was more the realization of it, where he's basically throwing people like miles into the distance and stuff. It just felt a bit too modern day superhero.
Now you're exaggerating. It wasn't miles.
Well, it sort of felt like that. Yeah, but it sort of feels like the sort of rubbish we get from modern day superhero films.
Whatever. Okay, well, completely disagree, but to each their own.
Okay.
Frick.
So, Frankenhooker.
No, listen, I like this one a lot. Not Frankenhooker. Frankenstein. The guys, I'm sure if you listen to the podcast, you've seen it, and I'm sure but listen, there is a slightly better version. I'm going to have to be honest with you. And I just think I've always enjoyed it, and it got a bum rap when it first came out. You have these three films that were coming out by Columbia and Sony Pictures. It was all Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then you had A Wolf with Jack Nicholson, directed by Mike Nichols, and then you had Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is directed by Kenneth Branagh. As much as I really like this version, and I think the actor who played the monster should be nominated, he's brilliant in it. Unfortunately, I think because he's got some prosthetics on his face, they won't nominate him, but I think that's bullshit. He should be nominated. But the De Niro performance in the 94 version, I think is brilliant, and you guys should check that one out.
My two favorite, while I think this is a cracking version by Del Toro, my two favorite versions would be the 1931 James Whale Universal classic and the Hammer Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing The Curse of Frankenstein. But I mean, there's been that many sort of versions over the years. There's lots to pick from. I would definitely state, definitely the Kenneth Branagh version as well would be up there. And I think this version, the Del Toro version, owes a certain debt to it. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from out there.
Yes, like this next piece of shit. Oh my God, why am I doing this? Yeah, Frankenhooker. 1990, directed by a man called, I believe it's Frank Henenlotter.
Yes.
He is known as from the Basket Case films, very popular films in the 80s. Brain Damage. He likes low budget exploitation. Bill Murray.
I remember the Basket Case films more back then, back in the video days.
They went fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dario Argento and Bill Murray both fully endorse this film.
Yes.
Jesus, what the... Yeah.
Like myself, they get it.
No, they don't. Argento,
well, I will trust Dario
at that point
and Murray.
Wasn't doing anything, and Murray was doing, Murray's kind of lost the plot. Anyway.
Well, you got it right here.
Let's just jump into this. We've got James Lorenz playing Jeffrey. Was it Frankskin? I don't know.
No, it's Frank Jeffrey or something.
No, it's Jeffrey Frankson.
Franken something.
Frankson,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's some sort of pun.
Yeah. Patty Mullen plays Elizabeth, wonderful actress. She that's 1988. She got the Penthouse Pet of the Year award. So good for her. You've got C.K. Stiefel, who plays Dolores, and good on her from 2017 and 2020. She played a volunteer baby cuddler. I am not kidding. And because of COVID restrictions, she could no longer do it.
Right.
Oh, it's a baby cuddler. What the fuck is that? Fuck.
I don't know why I haven't had the pleasure of seeing this epic.
There you go. I really don't care. You've got characters like Spike, and how clever this is, Mr. and Mrs. Shelley. This is trauma release, so I can expect that. So there's going to be a lot of tits and ass in this one.
It's not a trauma film. This isn't a trauma film.
Yeah, it is. It's produced by them.
Right, I think maybe, yeah, but it's not.
Trauma Pictures, and it's the beginning logo.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Trauma.
I wasn't 100% in that.
Class of Nukem High.
Oh yeah. Sheriff Nazis Must Die.
Yeah. Sheriff Nazis Must Die. Toxic Avenger, and so forth.
Rabid Grannies.
Yeah. Let's just get this one done. I don't know where to go with this one. You pretty much opening scene. He's got a brain with an eyeball on the kitchen table, while his soon-to-be in-laws are throwing a big barbecue right outside.
Well, as you do.
Oh my God!
And anytime my family's having a barbecue, I'm going to be experimenting on a brain indoors. Why would you not?
The mother goes out in the back as she's experimenting on the brain, and they're in the kitchen. Can you please go in there and tell your boyfriend, we can't be experimenting in the kitchen. I got to make coleslaw. And it's just and then Elizabeth's in a fat suit. The character's supposed to be a little chubbier, so they put her in a fat suit, which you probably wouldn't get away with today. And she buys the dad a lawnmower, big fancy pants lawnmower. And he's like, oh, wow. Yep. And it even comes with a remote because her boyfriend's an electrical technician. And she goes, oh, wait, don't stand in front of the remote. Don't stand in front of the lawnmower. And of course, she gets run over by it. So stupid. There's a newscaster that has some pretty funny lines.
They called to the door.
The newscaster is reporting live from the backyard of from the barbecue, and he goes, "This poor full girl was sucked under the blades that tossed her personality all over the party guests." She was tossed into a human salad. A salad once named Elizabeth. Stupid.
And then they're investigating basically why there are some of her body parts haven't been recovered. But we'll soon find out.
Yeah, they go up to the boyfriend. Hey, do you know where her head is? He goes, oh, I don't know. I saw it. I saw it fly in the air somewhere.
Yeah, nothing to do with me.
I just want to know.
Why does he drill holes in his own head?
Because he's trying to access a part of his brain that gives him knowledge. That how do I get out of this? And he drills the back of his head, and it figures it out for him.
But I'm looking at
you should try that.
But I'm more concerned about how whenever he does actually literally drill into his own head, there's not a single bit of blood. I don't think it works like that.
That's
I'm no scientist.
That's the fucking thing you're questioning about this film.
It did bug me. Yeah, I have to say. Why wasn't there like a load of blood splattering everywhere? There's nothing.
I love when the mom tries to console him. She says, you know what?
Apart from that, it's great.
When the mom comes in the room to console him, life goes on. Just find another girl.
All right. Yeah, she's very sympathetic. So she is.
And then he's having that Italian dinner with his wife, with the girlfriend's
dead body parts.
The head.
That was actually quite emotional, and my friend, and it's a tragedy of the character. It's portraying his grief and how he is coping with the grief, and having dinner with a decapitated head.
We fucking just talked about this. Is a disgrace. I almost don't want to do this because it's wrong in so many levels.
Right.
So his plan is he needs to get 6 or 7 hookers, and he needs all different parts.
Yep.
And so he needs to get Zorro's approval. Zorro is obviously the pimp.
Zorro's an absolute dipshit of epic proportions.
He gives his women super crack to keep them, No.
Zorro gives him normal crack, but what dipshit Frankenstein modern day guy does is he makes a super crack because he wants to control them basically for whenever he needs their body parts. But it backfires because what he doesn't realize, the super crack is so super, it actually makes them explode. It like literally explode, even though it's clearly mannequins standing in for them.
He tested it on the hamster, and the hamster explodes, and he goes, "Oh boy, this can get ugly." Yeah. And then he's like,
"But he still uses it."
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to. He goes, "I'm not killing anybody. It's the super crack doing it. If this doesn't do it, some other crack's going to do it."
Yes.
I'm just, getting ahead of the game.
Zorro would do it. If he didn't do it, Zorro probably would. And Zorro's like, yeah.
He has all these naked women, and this scene's just prolonged. It's just, I mean, when you're a 16-year-old kid, okay, you go with it because you're 16. Trevor is in his 50s.
What 50s? Oh, excuse me. I'm in my 40s. Unlike yourself.
You're close enough. Yeah,
and
you're sitting there you're probably just like a 16-year-old boy going, oh, yeah, this is the best. You think this is, I understand when we were younger, I remember seeing it and laughing and blah, blah. But now you look at it as an adult, I'm like, this is terrible. This is just.
It's artistically done.
It is exploitation. And it's
well, that's exactly the point. It is a sexploitation film.
It's not sexploitation. It's not listed.
That's what it's known as.
But it's just too much. And then he's measuring their breasts, and they got nipple shots, and measuring their legs. And then as he's doing this, he's starting to bond with the hookers, and he decides he doesn't want to do it until they get to his crack, and they all start smoking it. Stupid as fuck. I can't believe I'm saying these words are coming out of my mouth.
And the best about it, or perhaps the worst about it, all of these women were played by real life prostitutes. It is, it is sleazy, obviously, but that's sort of the point.
They have to pay him by the hour.
I very possibly, I would imagine. Not that I'm an expert on these matters. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny that this is super sleazy and exploitative, but that's the point.
Yeah, I know, but I think my point's made. When we're younger and we're mid-teens or whatever we are, we get it. We'll go with it. We'll have a good. Now, as an adult, you really think this holds up? I mean, seriously, Trevor.
I just laugh at how crazy it is. as Russell Crowe as Gladiator, famously said, "Are you entertained?" Yeah, probably for maybe, well, I would say all the right reasons. It's just her batshit and like crazy, and like it really doesn't give a shit. It is. You gotta respect that.
That's not respect. Don't say something that stupid.
At a certain level.
No, you don't respect
it's just
it.
because
Anybody could
they
do this.
do not give a shit.
Anybody could do this. There's no talent here. Let's get that
But
out
not
of
as
the way.
well.
Okay?
But not as well. Bill Murray agrees with me, and so does Dario Argento.
Yeah.
But yes, it is trashy and sleazy and bonkers.
So, before they explode, the camera quickly cuts to the woman screaming, and then we cut to it's all of a sudden a mannequin, and then the mannequin explodes.
Well, I mean, give him a break here. It's not like he was going to, you couldn't. I know the prostitutes were up for being paid for most things, but actually exploding them was probably a step too far.
Jesus. And then one of the heads flies off, and Zorro was going to go into the room, and it bangs him in the head and knocks him out.
Zorro's meant to be a badass, like a tough guy. He is the campest bad guy ever in these types of films. I don't think Zorro's into women.
And then he's going through all the body parts in his garage, and he's picking up the breasts, and then he sees a foot. He's like, "Oh my god, bunions!" So fucking stupid. Now the movie's on for like an hour and 25 minutes. It's about 23 minutes when we finally get the Frankenhooker.
23 minutes to go, you mean?
Yeah.
About an hour went by.
About 23 minutes left. So Liz is not Liz that we knew in the beginning. Fun, cutie little Liz. She's now got the mentality of a hooker.
She has the
so she's just walking around.
Yes.
So she is going around fucking these
basically,
men. And why are they dying? When she's orgasming, is she steaming the crack? Is she sweating? You trying to tell me, so when she's sleeping with that fat bastard, and he's like, "Yeah, baby, I like you, make me hot," and she's riding him, and then the steam's coming out of her? Is that
yes?
And that steam is the crack?
Yeah, but it's also all the whatever chemical shit he was using as well to basically create her. But basically, although she is partly Elizabeth and obviously has her head, but the rest of her body is basically made up of the hookers. So for some reason, this gives her the hookers' personality traits as well, because all the lines she says, like "want a date," and all she's saying about the stuff, the doctor and stuff, they're all lines that were said earlier on in the film by the prostitutes, which was actually very clever, actually, because that was foreshadowing earlier on.
Hey, stop. There's no foreshadowing here. Okay, there's no clever little, ooh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, but right. But basically, but what bugged me was more the fact is you don't get personality traits from the likes of your legs or your tits or your hands or whatever parts he's sewn together. You get them from your brain and your head. So it doesn't quite make scientific sense. I mean, it's almost there, but not quite.
So she finds that John. This character reminded me so much of you. The guy she rides in the hotel room and explodes. He's got the glasses.
Yes, right. He's absolutely nothing like me.
That
go
is
ahead.
So you'd be like, oh my god, I like it like that. And oh yeah, I was like,
right.
This is Trevor.
Not at all. I mean, like, there's no way in the world I would be much more classier. But I'm saying that Elizabeth Frankenhooker is a good-looking Frankenhooker, a good-looking zombie.
Not.
So,
and the funny thing is, she's walking. I don't know how she got in the subway, but anyway, she's in the subway and she's walking around looking for a John, and she's all stitches. And this actress is terrible in this. I use the word actress, by the way, very fucking loosely.
She's not bad at
oh my
stuff.
god!
I
was waiting. Would you stop?
At the comedic stuff, she's not bad. At the sort of, the whole sort of, want to dip with the mouth and all. She's not. She does an okay comedic performance. I'm not saying she's a great actress, but she's not bad at the comedic stuff.
You're.
I've seen worse.
No.
She's not bad.
You know what? You've never ever once in this podcast because no, she's not a very good actress. You won't do it. You've
I
never.
think she's
No,
not
you have
great.
never. You have never said that. This is terrible.
I mean,
This is
I've
terrible.
seen worse.
I want to know what you've seen. Actual porn?
No. I saw the comedic. Some of the comedic stuff she does is passable. I'm not saying she's a good actress. She's not. She's clearly not. She's not even an actress per se. She's basically a model, or she was back then when she was doing this. But she's not bad at the comedic stuff. It's kind of fun in a B movie sort of way.
It's not a B movie.
Well, it's not an A movie.
It's not even a. Fuck me. Oh my god. And then
Well, we're saving the best for the last.
And then you see the pimp and the pimps and that hauling of the pimps, Zorro and the other guy, and he overhears the conversations and he recognizes the conversation because she's reliving the conversations that they had with Zorro before this all went down. So he knows that she's going to lead him to Jeffrey to get his women back.
Yes, because he says they're my women. Yes, I own them, type thing.
And then the one pimp goes down on her.
Yes,
and his leg. You want to see his legs, and they start shaking, and the smoke's coming. This is fucking terrible. I can't believe
the purple smoke. It's purple smoke.
It's not purple smoke.
It is. I'm pretty certain it is.
No, it's not. No, it's just smoke. No.
There's
You need
definitely
to watch
purple
these
smoke.
films again if you're not getting them. You don't seem to know what it is a trauma release, and yes, it's regular smoke.
Okay, you're the expert. Quite clearly.
Don't you turn this around on me, you fucker.
I'll go down on Frankenhooker. So
so stupid.
I'm sorry that I'm not quite as knowledgeable as you about going down on Frankenhookers, but you're the man.
So you're a child.
What?
No wonder you like this shit. You're a fucking child. I'm the one who's got to host this and read this shit off while you just sit back and go, ha, 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 ha. Oh, she's okay.
I was just making a valid point that Bill Murray and Dario Argento agree with.
So Zorro punches her head off. So fucking stupid.
Yes.
And Jeffrey shows up and he rejuvenates her.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden she's back as Liz. Well, how does that happen?
I don't know. I think there may be some bullshitty type excuse about the way he does it the second time, but we're really sort of concerned about that.
I was concerned about a lot of stuff.
I mean, everything that's come before, I think this is the least of the worries.
Oh, no, it's coming. So Zorro shows up.
Again?
Yeah, and,
yes.
And he chops off our boy's head. And then he gets absorbed and eaten by the spare parts in the freezer.
Yes.
That were hit
very body horror, actually.
It's terrible. And society did this a lot better. And Reanimator. But no, so the parts got hit with electric bolts when Frankenhooker.
Yes.
So all the parts in the freezer now are alive because they're in the goo as well.
And they've formed together and stuff.
Yeah, and they take Zorro away into the freezer.
Yes. Zorro gets his comeuppance.
And then Liz puts Jeffrey's back together, but it's a woman's body because it only uses women's to test. What is it?
Is it estrogen?
Basically, yeah, it has to be women's estrogen or something.
Yeah, it only works with women. You can only rejuvenate women, essentially. So the only way she can, it's very clever, this actually. So the only way she can bring him back is by giving him tits and a fanny.
Just terrible. This is so bad. How
I actually cried at this bit at the end.
I mean,
quite emotional.
We just talked just a wonderful viewing experience with Guillermo del Toro. I think we've done the wrong thing here. I really think we should not have done this double feature.
Well, it's a good juxtapose. And you know what? If you're in any way going to review films or critique sort of, films in any way, you have to watch them all. So maybe we will introduce people to Frankenhooker, people who have maybe never heard of it. And then they'll come after us, they'll come look at us because they'll be so pissed off.
They'll be coming after us with fire and pitchforks.
Yeah, exactly. Galvanism will have to be brought back with electrical currents.
Oh my God.
You got to watch them all. You got to watch all genres and all subgenres and the whole shebang. And you know what? Frankenhooker, it is what it is, and it has a right to exist. And for sheer batshit craziness, I enjoyed it.
Anyways, yeah, tweets their own there, Trevor.
No problem.
Oh, no.
I will stand with Bill Murray and Dario.
Right. So, Christmas month's coming up. Okay. I'm just quickly saying, I'm changing the subject. So we got our titles picked, as you know, and we got to pepper in. We're just going to do a couple classics until we get to Christmas month. Get away from horror for a while. Yes, we're doing Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's part,
I'm just about to say
it's part of the Christmas month, so shut up. But yeah, kind of contemplate what we're going to do there. But definitely, we're going to get more into some of the gritty crime drama we've been talking about in the past. So I think we should maybe tackle Michael Mann and maybe do, I don't know. We'll look into it. Maybe revisit. Maybe see. They just released Sorcerer on 4K. That is an underrated classic. If you guys know what I'm talking about, William Friedkin's Sorcerer. It's not a fantasy film. It's about a truck moving drugs in bad weather, bad conditions down in Colombia or something like that. It is awesome. Roy Scheider.
Well, sorry, go ahead there. Yeah, I'll say something after.
But I don't know. We want to get away from the horror aspects of it, and we did find out that Carlito's Way and Scarface did well, so we might maybe even hit Goodfellas, something. We'll have it figured out here in the next week or so.
I was going to suggest just before Christmas month, how about, because it's in its 30th anniversary, Michael Mann's Heat.
Thought about that, but the prequel's coming.
Well,
so
it's actually a remake technically.
No,
Heat,
it's prequel
of his own film.
It's a prequel sequel.
Yeah, no, but there was actually a TV movie which I've seen called L.A. Takedown.
Oh yeah,
one of Michael Mann's earlier films.
Yeah,
basically Heat is a remake of it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
Well, Heat's better, but certainly the prototype for it.
Heat is a classic. But yeah, you're on the same. You're on the plane that I'm on. So we'll get something out there to you guys. But listen, thanks for giving us a shout, and I apologize for Frankenhooker. I feel really dirty now as I was talking about it, as Trevor was just, drooling. I was actually feeling mortified that we're talking about this after talking about such a beautiful story of Frankenstein.
It's a good juxtapose.
It's not a good show. It's an insult to Mary Shelley. But you're okay with it. You like Return of Salem's Lot, so you spit on Stephen King. So it's the same thing. Really.
I know it's not real. I can tell that there was real
So
life.
you pissed on the author's work. That's cool. I respect that then.
I'm not against Return to Salem's Lot.
Yeah, you would if you were Stephen. You would if you were Stephen King. Stephen King would.
Well, he would have got paid for it and royalties, but
no.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta end this. I'm gonna yell at him. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll talk soon.